this is Photography Gamer. Welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, I will be breaking down the photo mode in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order on the PS4. I'll go through each setting one by one, explain what they do, and how you can use them to your advantage. The episode will conclude with a few practical examples and a few tips on how to use the available settings to get the most out of the mode. Okay, let's have a look at the photo mode in Jedi Fallen Order. Right, basic settings. So if you click the L and R analog sticks in together at the same time, that will enter the photo mode. The left analog stick, once you're in the photo mode, moves the camera. The right stick rotates the camera. L1 and R1 adjust the height, or you could call this craning. Craning is really just lifting the camera, lowering the camera, allowing you to change perspective. Low to high creates scale. High to low creates kind of panoramic. The triangle button puts the HUD on or off if you want to see the image without all of the crap on the screen. If you click in the R3 analog stick, that will reset all of the changes you've made to the image. And if you press circle, that will close the photo mode. Right, other settings. Right, firstly, you can use L2 and R2 here to fine-tune the settings. Now that's basically just changing them in smaller amounts. If you use the D-pad, it would change them in larger amounts. So the fine-tuning is good if you just want to make a little micro adjustment. Right, first we've got zoom. It is what you would imagine. It allows you to go in and go out of the image. I use this pretty much after I've framed it. Once you've got the composition, the zoom is a good way of just making a micro adjustment to how close or far away you want the subject. Next we have tilt. Tilt allows you to tilt the image one way or the other. This is good if you want to capture combat or motion, movement, surrealism, because having it off kilter makes it have a sort of a different vibe. Next we have focus distance. This is the origin point of where the focus is going to be. So if your subject is halfway through the image, that's the focus distance you want. Then you have f-stops. F-stops dictate the depth of the focus. So if you don't know what an f-stop is, don't worry, because it's a stupid name. It's a photography term. Really what it means is how much blur is there going to be. The bigger the f-stop number, the less blur. The lower the f-stop number, the more blur. So you just decide what you want. You do the focus distance and the f-stops. Then we have exposure. Exposure really lightens a lot of the brighter areas. It doesn't so much lift the shadows, it's more about the lights. So exposure is good if you just want to lift the image in terms of brightness, or if you want to create a fake nighttime vibe, go down. Next we have vignettes. Vignettes are a dark shadowy border around the image. They're essentially there to draw your eye into the center. So if you've got a centralized focused portrait, vignettes are good to draw the eye into the middle. Then we have film grain. I use this a lot because it just adds a nice bit of texture and crispness to the image. It adds a bit of depth. It's quite a nice system here. A lot of the film grain in computer game photography isn't very good at all. Here, this is a nice example. Have a play with it. Quite useful. Next is chromatic aberration. This is essentially, it's a bit like a vignette. Instead of shadows, it's like blur, distortion, and almost like sort of weird colored borders on things. It creates a surrealistic distortion on the corners of the image. Not something I'd use all the time, but again, something for sort of dynamic action, perhaps. Then we have hide cal. So that's what you would imagine. You can hide cal, the character, if you just want to do a shot of the landscape or the enemy AIs. Next option is hide AIs. So what does that do? Have a guess. Yeah, you've got it. It hides the AIs. And that's if you just want to get them out of the shot, you want to do a landscape, you want to just photograph cal, that's up to you. Next we have filter and filter strength. So filter, there's a lot of nice options here. So again, choose the one that you think is going to help your image. Lots of nice selections. Then your filter strength is a slider that, much like on Instagram, it lets you do 0 to 100. Most of the filters are quite severe, so you might just want to drop it down a little bit just to give it a softer approach, and that's, really what it does. Also, if you press the square button, that will add a spotlight. Now you might think, why do I want a spotlight? Well, that will add light to your image, but mainly to the main character. It's like a flash bulb going off, so it lets you really bring the character out of the image. Because there's a lot of dark moments, and once you've got the spotlight, you can choose how bright you want it. The temperature can be a warm color or a cold color, depending on what you actually want. Do you want it to match the image that you're already in? So, a nice option for illuminating. Okay, so those are the functions. Verdict on the photo mode. Good points. I would say it's clean and precise, akin to something like Death Stranding's photo mode. Nice depth of field mesh system that's really easy on the eyes and really easy to use. And the trigger adjustments for fine tuning are really helpful. Bad points. There's no facial or body position changes, no contrast or brightness sliders, no frames, no stickers, no borders. And I would say it does lack the fun element that you would associate with Star Wars. Am I wrong? I don't think so. Where's the fun elements? But on the whole, it's a good photo mode. I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10 for the mode. I think there's plenty of potential and, lots of nice things you can do with it. So how do you get the most out of it? Well, look, it's not an open world game, is it? It's a kind of tight linear spaced game, but there are some nice panoramic scenes in the distance. So look at the surroundings, think about that, think about lighting, think about silhouettes, think about position. Also, when you're in combat, don't forget to pause, try and capture combat, because those shots can be really, really nicely sort of edited and stuff like that. I would say just experiment. The lightsaber's also great, especially if you're in a dark area. Have that dark area, have your lightsaber fight going on, pause it and take a shot, similar to like when Vader's fighting Luke in the last two of the original trilogy. Don't be afraid to use the flashlight, but think about how bright it is. Don't maybe use it 100%, just drop it down and just enough to bring out your subject's face a little bit. But just look at the environment, look at the scene, think about cinematic type shots and that kind of stuff, and there's lots of potential to really get some beautiful stuff here. Right, there you go. That's the mode, that's the settings, that's a review, that's a few tips. Thank you for watching. I hope it was useful. For now, that's it. I'll be back with another episode, I don't know, a few weeks' time. Thank you for watching. This is Photography Gamer signing off. Cheers.